File 2.
Chapter 2. 3 of us boys were always together, and had been so from the cradle, being fond of one another from the beginning, and this affection deepened as the years went on. Nicholas Baumann, son of the principal judge of the local court, Seppi Vollmeier, son of the keeper of the principal inn, the Golden Stag, which had a nice garden with shade trees reaching down to the riverside, and pleasure boats for hire, and I was the third, Theodor Fischer, son of the church organist, who was also leader of the village musicians, teacher of the violin, composer, tax collector of the commune, sexton, and in other ways a useful citizen, and respected by all. We knew the hills and the woods as well as the birds knew them, for we were always roaming them when we had leisure, at least when we were not swimming or boating or fishing, or playing on the ice, or sliding downhill. And we had the run of the castle park, and very few had that. It was because we were pets of the oldest serving man in the castle, Felix Brandt, and often we went there nights, to hear him talk about old times and strange things, and to smoke with him. He taught us that. And to drink coffee, for he had served in the wars, and was at the siege of Vienna. And there, when the Turks were defeated and driven away, among the captured things were bags of coffee, and the Turkish prisoners explained the character of it, and how to make a pleasant drink out of it. And now he always kept coffee by him, to drink himself, and also to astonish the ignorant with. When it stormed, he kept us up all night, and while it thundered and lightened outside, he told us about ghosts and horrors of every kind, and of battles and murders, and mutilations and such things, and made it pleasant and cosy inside. And he told these things from his own experience, largely. He had seen many ghosts in his time, and witches and enchanters, and once he was lost in a fierce storm at midnight in the mountains, and by the glare of the lightning had seen the wild huntsman rage on the blast, with his spectre dogs chasing after him through the driving cloud-rack. Also, he had seen an incubus once, and several times he had seen the great bat that sucks the blood from the necks of people while they are asleep, fanning them softly with its wings, and so keeping them drowsy till they die. He encouraged us not to fear supernatural things such as ghosts, and said they did no harm, but only wandered about because they were lonely and distressed, and wanted kindly notice and compassion. And in time we learned not to be afraid, and even went down with him in the night to the haunted chamber in the dungeons of the castle. The ghost appeared only once, and it went by very dim to the sight, and floated noiseless through the air, and then disappeared, and we scarcely trembled, he had taught us so well. He said it came up sometimes in the night and woke him by passing its clammy hand over his face, but it did him no hurt. It only wanted sympathy and notice. But the strangest thing was that he had seen angels, actual angels out of heaven, and had talked with them. They had no wings, and wore clothes, and talked and looked and acted just like any natural person, and you would never know them for angels, except for the wonderful things they did which a mortal could not do, and the way they suddenly disappeared while you were talking with them, which was also a thing which no mortal could do. And he said they were pleasant and cheerful, not gloomy and melancholy, like ghosts. It was after that kind of a talk one May night that we got up next morning and had a good breakfast with him, and then went down and crossed the bridge, and went away up into the hills on the left, to a woody hilltop which was a favourite place of ours, and there we stretched out on the grass in the shade to rest and smoke, and talk over these strange things, for they were in our minds yet, and impressing us. But we couldn't smoke, because we had been heedless and left our flint and steel behind. Soon there came a youth strolling towards us through the trees, and he sat down and began to talk in a friendly way, just as if he knew us. But we did not answer him, for he was a stranger, and we were not used to strangers, and were shy of them. He had new and good clothes on, and was handsome, and had a winning face and a pleasant voice, and was easy and graceful and unembarrassed, not slouchy and awkward and diffident like other boys. We wanted to be friendly with him, but didn't know how to begin. Then I thought of the pipe, and wondered if it would be taken as kindly meant if I offered it to him. But I remembered that we had no fire, so I was sorry and disappointed. But he looked up bright and pleased, and said, "Fire? Oh, that's easy. I will furnish it." I was so astonished I couldn't speak, for I had not said anything. He took the pipe, and blew his breath on it, and the tobacco glowed red, and spirals of blue smoke rose up. We jumped up, and were going to run, for that was natural, and we did run a few steps, although he was yearningly pleading for us to stay, and giving us his word that he would not do us any harm, but only wanted to be friends with us and have company. So we stopped and stood, and wanted to go back, being full of curiosity and wonder, but afraid to venture. He went on coaxing in his soft, persuasive way, and when we saw that the pipe did not blow up and nothing happened, our confidence returned little by little, and presently our curiosity got to be stronger than our fear, and we ventured back, but slowly, and ready to fly at any alarm. He was bent on putting us at ease, and he had the right art. One could not remain doubtful and timorous where a person was so earnest, and simple and gentle, and talked to us so alluringly as he did. No, he won us over, and it was not long before we were content and comfortable and chatty, and glad we had found this new friend. When the feeling of constraint was all gone, we asked him how he had learnt to do that strange thing, and he said he hadn't learned it at all. It came natural to him, like other things, other curious things. What ones? Oh, a number. I don't know how many. Will you let us see you do them? Do, please, the others said. You won't run away again? No, indeed we won't. Please do, won't you? Yes, with pleasure. But you mustn't forget your promise, you know. We said we wouldn't. And he went to a puddle, and came back with water in a cup, which he had made out of a leaf, and blew upon it, and threw it out, and it was a lump of ice in the shape of the cup. We were astonished and charmed, but not afraid any more. We were very glad to be there, and asked him to go on and do some more things. And he did. He said he would give us any kind of fruit we liked, whether it was in season or not. We all spoke at once. Orange, apples, grapes. They're in your pockets, he said. And it was true. And they were of the best, too. And we ate them, and wished we had more, though none of us said so. You will find them where those came from, he said, and everything else your appetites call for, and you need not name the thing you wish. As long as I am with you, you only have to wish and find." And he said true. There was never anything so wonderful and so interesting. Bread, cakes, sweets, nuts, whatever one wanted, it was there. He ate nothing himself, but sat and chatted, and did one curious thing after another to amuse us. He made a tiny toy squirrel out of clay, and it ran up a tree and sat on a limb overhead, and barked down at us. Then he made a dog that was not much larger than a mouse, and it treed the squirrel and danced about the tree, excited and barking, and was as alive as any dog could be. It frightened the squirrel from tree to tree, and followed it up until both were out of sight in the forest. He made birds out of clay, and set them free, and they flew away, singing.